After 2 decades struggling to build our colony here on Novus, the ambassador's arrival felt like both a blessing and a curse. We never expected to see another living being in this remote corner of the galaxy after our Ark ship crash-landed here so long ago. Yet when the sleek alien craft appeared in our skies, broadcasting greetings of peace, we felt hope of no longer being alone. The ambassador was bipedal like us, but covered in iridescent scales and with a forked tongue that flicked from its mouth. It spoke perfect English in a cold, raspy voice, and said its race wanted friendship. After so long with just each other, the prospect was intoxicating. We welcomed them eagerly, perhaps too eagerly. Things started small at first. The aliens proposed trade deals to exchange materials, knowledge, culture. It seemed reasonable, but over time the ambassador's demands grew steadily, until we'd unthinkingly handed over mining rights to half our land's minerals, tanks of water from our purification plant, access to our networks. It was only when crops started failing from strange, rapid-spreading blights and radiation levels spiked around the alien mining sites that people started questioning these deals. But when we tried renegotiating, the ambassador's friendly facade evaporated. It said we'd already agreed and now owed them. Refusal would mean war. I wished we could return to those first hopeful days of contact. But it became increasingly clear the aliens had been manipulating us from the start, using our people's desperate desire for connection against us while concealing their true motives. Even now, we aren't sure what they want or why they chose our struggling colony to target, only that the more we give, the more they take. With resources dwindling and unrest growing, some have suggested we respond to their veiled threats with violence. But after 20 years here, we know how fragile life is. Perhaps there are non-violent ways to resist the ambassador's ploys and make them understand we will not be intimidated or fooled again. If both sides could return to the spirit of those first encounters, might a solution emerge? But it is difficult to trust once trust is broken, and the ambassador seems unlikely to compromise. Diplomacy was always doomed to fail. The aliens simply did not comprehend mercy or compassion, only survival and conquest. While we debated naively on upholding our ideals, the aliens swiftly seized total control. They unleashed a tailored virus that swept through our colony within days, incapacitating half our population. Then their warships descended from the sky, decimating our defenses in a blaze of plasma. We never stood a chance. The remaining survivors were rounded up and forced into labor, mining the resources and harvesting the crops to fuel the aliens' continued expansion across Novus. Harsh reprisals followed any disobedience. The ambassador was installed as the planet's governor, ruling absolutely from the former capital. A fragile stability emerged as years passed under the new regime. Most of our people kept their heads down, focused only on surviving the grinding routine of toil and subjugation. All former pride was crushed, dignity abandoned. We were broken. But others nurtured a simmering anger during those years, a growing conviction that capitulation could not last. Whispers spread of those willing to resist, to fight back and redeem humanity, no matter the cost. Word eventually reached me, their elected leader in hiding. It took months to coordinate across such isolation and fear, but we finally agreed on a desperate symbolic plan, one that would stir the souls of our people, if nothing else. The date was set, no going back. On the 25th anniversary of First Contact, I infiltrated the capital in disguise and made my way into the grand hall where the governor prepared to give his annual address. As he slithered up to the podium before an audience of thousands, I drew the ancient pistol from my cloak and fired a single shot into the governor's skull. For a moment, silence gripped the hall. Then pandemonium erupted. Guards swarmed toward me, but too late. I was the spark they could not unstrike. I barely heard the crowd's rising cries as I was gunned down. My last thoughts were of wondering if this small sacrifice might ignite the fires of resistance again, and that no matter how crushing defeat may seem, human defiance endures in those willing to light the first flame. Even if only ashes remain, liberty persists in the heart forever.